Hello, I am on like day one of a cold, so ignore the nasal voice. But it's been a while. I can't tell you how many videos I've attempted to record over the past like 6 months. I don't know, when was my last upload? October maybe, so like 4 months, I don't know. But it feels like it's been a while. I've recorded a lot of like the start of vlogs and then not ended up vlogging like the main thing I wanted to vlog, and it just didn't happen for me. That aside, today I'm going to share with you my favorite books of 2019. I read, I think, 55 or 56 books in 2019. And there were a lot of things I liked, but not a lot of things like, or I guess a lot of things I like, but some real standouts that like I love. And this Christmas, I actually bought so many books for people, which is something that I kind of do sometimes. But this year I bought books for like almost every single person on my like list of people to buy gifts for. Anyway, let's get on to it. We're like 2 minutes into this video already and I haven't even talked about a single book. I'd like to give a couple of honorable mentions that I guess I could physically grab. Hold please. The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I went through a big thriller phase over the summer and read a ton of thrillers, and I think this one was my favorite. This is the only Ruth Ware I've read. I want to read other books by her. This one is about a woman. It's told in an epistolary format, so part of it is letters that a woman is writing to a lawyer, basically trying to get him to take her case. She has been accused of murdering a child that was under her care. And then it flashes back to the time of her being a nanny. She goes up, she's looking for something, and she ends up taking a different path. She finds this job opening. She becomes a nanny at this place, getting paid a ton of money to watch these kids, and there's weird stuff going on with the house. It's really interesting and really thrilling. It actually gave me, I read it right when I moved into my current flat, and it gave me some nightmares. So love that for me. The next one might shock you that it's not like on the top of my list, and that's Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I liked this book a lot and I had a good time, but I don't fully understand why everyone's like losing their minds over it. But you know, to each their own. This is basically an idealized version of like an alternate reality wherein a woman is the president of the United States and the first son and the Prince of Wales in England fall in love. So it's fun. It's like new adult, so it's kind of, they're all like college age about, and it's just like a romp and it's a good time, and I enjoyed it a lot. I Like to Watch by Emily Nussbaum, Arguing My Way Through the Television Revolution. I love reading academic writing on TV, so that's why I enjoyed this a lot. It's actually funny because I disagree with her opinions on a lot of TV shows. Like, we don't like the same shows, but I still really enjoyed this. If you also like reading about TV, if you really enjoy television and you like academic writing, I recommend this. It's academic writing, but it's obviously quite accessible. It's not like heavy. And the last one I listened to an audiobook, but it is The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James by Ashley Herring Blake. Ashley Herring Blake, I think, has made onto my favorites lists for the past like 4 years. I just absolutely love everything she writes. She writes both middle grade and YA, and I think she's just stellar in both fields, or both age ranges. This follows a 12-year-old girl named Sunny who is navigating heart surgery. She's recently gotten a new heart, and also she's kind of reconnecting with her birth mother and also dealing with her sexuality. She's developing feelings for another girl, and it's just so sweet. She handles like coming of age and like sexuality stories with such grace, and I just think that they're wonderful. I'm so happy her middle grade especially exists for younger readers. Coming in at number 5 on my list, these are kind of in order, I guess it just kind of worked out that way, but that is The Truth About Keeping Secrets by Savannah Brown. Savannah Brown is a friend of mine, and I think this is her debut, and I think it's such a wonderful debut. It's so strong. It's just such a strong book. It's a YA thriller, and there aren't a ton of YA thrillers that are actually great in my opinion. I guess I'll read you the little blurb on the back. Sydney's dad is the only therapist for miles around their small Ohio town. He knows everybody's secrets. He's also unexpectedly dead. So that's kind of what you get going into it. It's a very grief heavy book. It's also about a queer main character. We love that. It's just really good. I think it's a really good time. I'm very excited for what Savannah has coming out next. Number 4 is another new author that I'm thrilled about, and that's Rory Power. This is her debut. This is about, you've probably heard about this a lot on the internet actually. I feel like everyone read this year, and a lot of people didn't like it, but I really did. It's a very kind of speculative, it's like a body horror book in that everyone on this little secluded island in New England has a tox. By the way, if you hear a hissing noise, that's my radiator. I apologize, but I have no control over it. The tox impacts each of the girls in a different way. Some are growing 2 eyelids, some have scales, etc. Just loads of weird things going on with their bodies. So they've been quarantined to this island, and the shit hits the fan in the book. Also, queer main characters. I just really enjoyed it, and I found Rory Power's writing like really engaging and really creepy, but also like I just wanted to know what happens next. So I'm really excited. She has her second book coming out this year called Burn Our Bodies Down, and I cannot wait. Number 3 is another book that's going to be on a lot of people's lists, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid, I've read almost everything she's written, and I really like a lot of it. I think the 2 I love are this and Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I think was my favorite book of last year. But this is basically Fleetwood Mac. It's told again in like a interview format. So if I can kind of show you, like basically it's an interview with someone, and people are telling their story about the past and what happened when this band called Daisy Jones and the Six was formed, and the trials of the relationship, especially between Daisy Jones, the lead singer, and Billy Dunn, who is one of the guitarist, I think he is. Everyone knows Daisy Jones and the Six. The band's album Aurora came to define rock and roll of the late 70s, and the entire generation of girls wanted to grow up and be Daisy. But no one knows the reason behind the group's split on the night of their final concert at Chicago Stadium on July 12th, 1979, until now. It's really good. If you like music, I think you'd really enjoy it. If you like kind of alternate format stories, I think you'd love it. And if you just love some cool characters, try it out. My top 2 books of the year, I've talked about so much on this channel. Coming in at number 2, I feel like is one that's going to be on either disappointed lists or favorites lists, and that's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I loved Ninth House. Please bear in mind going into this book that it is quite dark and quite grim. It does involve a lot of triggering topics like sexual assault and rape and grief and murder, and it's dark. It's dark. I would check out the Goodreads or Leigh's website for like the full list of like triggers for all of these books as well. I don't want to say that I like called out everything. Do your own research if you have certain topics that are triggering. Definitely look into that. I feel like most places have trigger warnings on their Goodreads accounts or on like the top reviews, so please bear in mind that for everything. But I try to call out big things that I think would actually be really upsetting, especially as a trauma survivor myself. But this is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Ninth House is the story of Galaxy Alex Stern, who I love. If you like Veronica Mars, I think you'd really like Alex Stern. Just putting that out there. Big Veronica Mars energy here. A tale of power, privilege, dark magic, and murder set among an Ivy League elite. Kind of the through line. Basically, Alex has recently had a terrible tragedy. She's the sole survivor of like a multiple homicide. It's awful and horrible, and she's recovering in the hospital, and someone from Yale comes and asks her to attend Yale and work at the school. So she's given this second chance, and she's a very unlikely candidate for it. But basically her job is to keep the secret societies at the school who are doing weird occult things and keep them in check. And she is uniquely qualified for that. And I think I'll leave it at that. Again, it's very dark. It's so interesting and cool, and also horrifying. It talks a lot about privilege and the privilege that exists within an Ivy League campus. I just think it was really interesting. It's like a reflection on the perils of being a woman throughout centuries, and like what the trauma and the horrible things that we've done to women, we like men primarily, or just people in general, have done to women, and women of color especially over time. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. And the #1 book, no one is surprised, I own 4 copies of it. It's Starless C by Erin Morgenstern. The Starless C by Erin Morgenstern, to be specific. In case you were wondering why I have 4 copies, I have the Galley, which is like on my bedside table. I have this Waterstones exclusive edition from the UK, which has that, which is really cool, and also pretty end papers with bees, and also this. It's just gorgeous. Look at that back. I have the US edition, which is signed because I attended an event, but also has these really cool key end papers, and also has a cool like hardcover. And then this is just the normal UK edition, which has this as well. It looks more like kind of a traditional book, has a cool spine, and I love, love, love the end papers here. So anyway, I have a lot of copies of this book because it's probably my favorite book of all time. It's definitely up there with the likes of Strange the Dreamer and Harry Potter, which are my favorite books of all time. So that's saying a lot. The Starless C is a book that I definitely recommend going into with like very little, I want to say expectations, but I really hyped it up for everyone I tell this to, and I bought this book for so many people this year for Christmas, but definitely with very little knowledge on what it's about. It's like a fairy tale. It's I don't even know. It follows a wonderful, wonderful boy named Zachary Ezra Rollins, who's in graduate school studying video games and loves reading, and one day he decides to take this book called Sweet Sorrows out of the library, and one of the stories is a story from his childhood that there's absolutely no way anyone else could tell aside from him, because no one was around. And it kind of follows his journey into secret societies, kind of trying to uncover who wrote this book, why this book exists, why he's in it. And it's got fairy tale and pirates and libraries, and I just love it. It is quite a dense read. It took my first read of it, I read it over the course of a month, and I love that. I did that intentionally because it was just like candy. It was just taking in a couple chapters a night and trying to savor it for as long as humanly possible. I never wanted to leave this world. I'm gonna wrap this video up because my radiator's turned on again. I keep pausing and then it turns on again. It's not even that cold out. I don't know why. I don't like radiators. Anyway, pick up Starless C if you're at all interested. It is quite dense, but I think it's so worth the journey, and it's just beautiful. It does have a really good audiobook, but I super recommend physically reading it. I mean, if audiobook is the main way you listen to things and it's like the most accessible means for you, then please read it in any way you can. But I do recommend the physical experience, and like, yeah, personally, I think it's better having done both. Thank you for watching. Tell me your favorite books in the comments below. Tell me what books you're excited for in 2020. I haven't done any research yet for 2020. I know a few things coming out, but I haven't like really done it yet. So I'm gonna get on that soon. I'm gonna put all these books away. Have a wonderful day.